Hey there, it's Kat and this is Brews and Reviews. In today's video I want to talk to you guys about books that I am predicting are going to be rated 5 stars by me once I have read them. Yeah, so all of these books are books that I am planning to read in the sometime nearby, maybe-ish future, eventually. And I'm hoping that they're all going to be 5 stars. I'm hoping that they're all going to be great books, and I want to talk to you guys about them. And then eventually when I have read them, we can look back and we can see if I'm right. Hopefully I'm right. I have such a poor track record with this, so hopefully I'm right. So the first book on this list is The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. A book which I really know very little about, other than the fact that everyone on BookTube seems to really enjoy it. It is a standalone fantasy, which is the only reason I don't mind that it is huge. It's like 800 pages, I think. I actually own it on audiobook, so it's a 26-hour audiobook, I think. So that is a commitment. And the fact that I think it's going to be a 5-star read is probably the only reason I'm making that commitment, because you know I have that fear of long books. So yes, we're going to read it, and I think that it's going to be really good. Dragons. I haven't read many books with dragons in, which is surprising considering how much I really like fantasy. I just don't seem to be drawn towards dragon books usually. Yeah, it looks really good, and I think it's going to be a 5-star. I really hope so. I really don't know anything about it to give you a plot synopsis, which is a bit sad, but also we're going to just brush right over that. Priory of the Orange Tree. Yeah. The next books on this list are from the same series, so I hope both of these are going to be 5 stars. It is book 2 and 3 in the Cursebreaker series. So it is A Heart So Fierce and Broken and A Vow So Bold and Deadly. I just really hope that the rest of the series is as good as the first book in the series, which I really enjoyed. The first book was a Beauty and the Beast retelling with a main character who has cerebral palsy, and it was just really interesting. I really enjoyed it. It was one of those books that I really just didn't want to stop reading. I did it as a buddy read with Victoria from What Victoria Read, and that was such a fun time, and I have such fond memories of it. I'm also really looking forward to these because I'm going to be buddy reading them with Mel from a book feed named Mel, and I have positive vibes towards the rest of this series, so I just feel like it's going to be a good time. Hopefully 5 stars. The next book I am hoping is going to be 5 stars is The Atrocity Archives by Charles Stross. Now this book is an interesting one. It's basically about a man who works as a low-level techie for a super secret government firm, but then there's a lot of parallel dimensions and weird sci-fi things that happen, and it sounds so interesting. And also it sounds like it appeals to the part of me that thinks that that type of office job is ridiculous and people take hierarchy way too seriously, and it sounds like this is going to take the mick out of it. It was bought for me by someone who knows that I have an aversion to those things and need to take the mick out of them. That's why I'm excited to read this book, and I'm really hoping that it just hits that spot for me and makes me laugh, as well as just really enjoying the book. Next up we have My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix. Look at it. It's like 80s nostalgia. I love the 80s. I love 80s nostalgia. Mostly because I grew up in the family that loved the 80s. My dad. My mum would be like, I sat there and listened to it. No, she loves the 80s too, just not quite as much as my dad. So I'm excited to read this one. Also, it's like horror. This is the first Grady Hendrix book I'll be reading, and I've heard so many good things about Grady Hendrix's writing, particularly this book being really enjoyable, a bit grim at times, but I'm kind of here for that, so I'm really interested, and I hope this is going to be 5 stars. The next book on this list is another Grady Hendrix book. I clearly have very high expectations for Grady Hendrix, and I think it's because I've heard so many great things about their work, and, yeah. So, Horror Store, which appealed to me anyway, regardless of the fact that Grady Hendrix is supposed to be such a good writer, and all of the books are supposed to be really exciting and well written. It's like horror IKEA. What is not to love about that? It sounds great. It looks creepy. I can't wait to be creeped out by the furniture. Yes! I hope there's creepy furniture in it. Speaking of, did anybody see the IKEA couch thing that they did for Pride Month? And the bisexual couches with the hands on it? Most terrifying thing I've seen in a long time. Why were there hands on it? Why? Anyway, after that traumatic event, let's move on! Next up, we have two books that are in the same series, and we have King of Scars and Rule of Wolves by Leigh Bardugo. No one's surprised, not going to talk about this for very long. This is a duology within the Grishaverse that I have not read yet and I'm very excited to read. And I really hope that they live up to the expectation that I have had for most of the other Grisha series. I think Six of Crows, Language of Thorns, and The Lives of Saints are the only ones that I gave 4 stars. The rest of them have all been rated 5 stars. So I really hope that these can continue the 5-star tradition. The next book on this list is Tender is the Flesh, and I cannot remember who that is by because I only own it as an ebook. But this is a book that has been recommended by Victoria from What Victoria Read as a really gross book. I believe it is in a world where people eat people, and it's about a guy that works in the people butcher factory thing. Anyway, it sounds disgusting, but the way Victoria talks about it just really makes me want to read it, and I feel like it's going to be a 5 stars, or conversely, it could be really low. So I'm either going to really enjoy it or really not enjoy it. There is no in between, I don't think. I think also it probably won't help the fact that I am actually a vegetarian, so I don't like talking about regular meat being eaten, but also I'm kind of like, well, if it's people, then why is it less bad eating people than it is eating animals? I don't know, but did that make me sound like a cannibal? That made me sound like I would not eat people, just to put that out there for, you know, all the, you know, FBI agents and stuff. I'm not gonna eat people. I don't even eat like chicken and stuff. I'm not a cannibal. That's a very iffy contender on this list, but I want it to be 5 stars, so hopefully it will be. And then the last 2 books on this list are probably very predictable as well, probably. And one of them is tentatively on this list. So that is A Court of Frost and Starlight and A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J Maas, because, you know, I love this series. This is tentatively on this list because I know everyone's like, this didn't need to be here, it's basically a honeymoon book, I don't care. I don't care. I'm probably gonna love it. Maybe, I feel like it's probably gonna end up as a 4 star, but in my heart I am wishing for it to be a 5 star, so that's why it's on this list, because I want all of these books to be 5 stars. And this one I just feel like will be anyway, because I'm just going to enjoy it the way that I enjoyed all of the others. Yeah? No explanations needed. So those are the books that I think are going to be rated 5 stars when I read them eventually in the sometimes near futureverse. If you've read any of these books, let me know what you rated them. Do you think that I will like them as much as I think I will like them? Remind everyone that I am not a cannibal and do not support cannibalism, even if I do love Hannibal! Anyway, so that's it for this video. If you made it this far into the video and you don't want to leave a comment but you do want to let me know you were here, then please leave me an emoji of some sort of sofa or seat thing, or a hand. Yeah, creepy. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!